Today's education news, are we starting to actually turn a corner as far as retention? According to new workforce data released from the DFE, it shows that vacancies have fallen by over 20%, retention rates for new teachers also improving, and more teachers returning to state schools, which certainly sounds really positive. However, experts have cautioned that the effects of sustained under-recruitment and poor retention continue to be felt across the sector. Let's take a look at some of the findings in more detail. So the number of full-time teachers has reduced by 400 since last year, the first fall since 2017-18. The government says that this actually aligns with the changes in pupil population. So there is a fall in birth rate, a fall in number of children on roll in primary, which links up here that primary full-time teachers decreased by 2,900, but secondary numbers rose by 1,400. This means there are now more teachers at secondary than primary for the first time since 2013. There's also been an increase in the number of teachers working at special or PRU schools by 900. Now, this is where recruitment still seems to be an issue. The number of full-time teachers joining the sector stood at 41,700, which is down 1,400 since last year. And this figure is lower since figures were recorded in 2011-12. Well, this number includes new teachers, 41%, but also teachers joining the state sector and those returning. But the rate of those returning to the profession is the highest since 2014-15. There has been a slight drop in the number of teachers quitting, so around 41,200 full-time teachers left. This is down from 42,000 in 22-23 and the lowest since 2020. But that means that there are still over 40,000 teachers leaving the profession, which has been the case for a number of years. Now, I made a prediction a while ago saying that the reason I think most teachers have been leaving over the past few years has been workload. My prediction has been that I don't think we're going to necessarily see a massive drop in the number of teachers leaving, which I think we can say there. But the main reason, I'll be interested to find this out, I don't think will be workload, it will be behaviour. So I think behaviour will overtake workload for the main reason why so many teachers are now leaving. Over 1,600 TED teachers left for a job outside the state sector in 23-24. And I do think teaching's a little bit weird, as it seems a profession where the more experience you have actually works against you. And that really worries me, as it says here, the loss of experience in teaching and leadership is particularly concerning because of the effect it might have on the quality of teaching. Research shows that attainment remains lower, the disadvantage gap wider than before the pandemic, so keeping experienced teachers in the profession is critical for the years ahead. There's also been an improvement in retention rate for new teachers, so just under 90% of those who earned their stripes in 2023 were still teaching, which is up by 0.7%. Meanwhile, 80% of teachers who qualified in 2022 are still teaching, which is up on 79.2% previously. However, retention rates fell for most other cohorts. What's really interesting about these figures is it's not just about teachers who are coming in and leaving the profession. They're not the only factors that impact the number of full-time teachers. The changes to working patterns also have an impact. So latest figures show that 4.4% of the workforce have increased their working hours, while 6% have reduced their hours, which produces a net decrease equivalent to 2,500 full-time teachers since last year. I've talked about this, that motherhood penalty, how so many teachers who are also mums are either quitting the profession or going part-time, where they take a financial hit to have a day at home being a mum, but end up still working the same amount of hours as a full-time teacher. The number of unfilled teaching jobs has reduced by 2,200, having more than doubled in the previous 3 years. This one really caught my eye. Support staff numbers have risen every year since 2019-20. They now stand at 517,500, the highest on record. The DFE said this is mainly due to an increase of 5,900 teaching assistants, from around 283,000 to almost 289,000. Which is obviously a really positive thing, because we all know the incredible role teaching assistants and support staff play in children's education. We just need to make sure they are adequately paid for the incredible job they do. And there has also been a rise of around 6.3% to the average teacher full-time pay to just under 49,000, and head teacher salaries have increased 5.5% to over 83,000. To read through that, there are plenty of sort of positive things there, but there is still such a long way to go. The fact that there are still over 40,000 teachers leaving the profession each year is not good enough. We need to bring that number down massively, especially when so many of them are amazing teachers with a wealth of experience that they can bring to the classroom, and we know that can have such a huge impact on children's learning. So fingers crossed it can keep coming down, but hopefully come down a lot quicker than it has been.